All right, strap in, everybody, because we're really going deep today, like way deep into the world of William Blake and this incredible work, The Marriage of Heaven and Hell.
Yeah, this isn't your average poem we're tackling here. Even back in the 18th century, Blake was considered out there pushing the boundaries of what poetry could be.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you share this with us, so I already know you're not afraid of a little intellectual adventure,
Yep,
right?
you could definitely say that. Blake was a true visionary, both in his words and in how he chose to express them.
Right, and that's what I find so fascinating, this whole illuminated printing thing. He wasn't content with just words on a page.
No, no, this was a whole different animal. He was etching directly onto copper plates, then hand coloring each and every copy. Talk about dedication. Seriously. And you can feel that dedication even from those first few lines. The argument. It just draws you right in.
Oh, definitely. And that image that goes along with it, the two figures on that precarious, thorny tree. Talk about setting the scene.
No peaceful stroll in the park, that's for sure.
Not at all. It's all about the struggle, the potential for both enlightenment and for falling back down.
Yeah.
And Blake doesn't shy away from that tension, not one bit.
Especially when he brings in Rintrah, right?
Yeah.
That mythical creature representing wrath and energy. And he does it at both the beginning and the end of the argument.
Exactly. It's cyclical. Like he's saying, this struggle, this tension between opposing forces, it's not a one-time deal. It's a constant. It's the very essence of existence.
And that energy, that tension, it explodes in those Proverbs of Hell, right? It's
Yeah.
like he's giving conventional wisdom the middle finger. Oh, 100%. I mean, the road of excess leads to the palace of wisdom. The tigers of wrath are wiser than the horses of instruction. Messing with us, right?
Totally. Making us question everything we thought we knew.
Absolutely. Blake wants us to think for ourselves, not just swallow whatever we've been told. And a big part of that is questioning those easy answers, those prepackaged ideas of good and evil.
But it is where those three errors come in, right?
Yeah.
He's saying, look, these assumptions you're making about man, about energy, about God, they're holding you back.
They're blinders, and Blake's trying to rip those blinders right off.
And he does it in such a striking way. Like that image alongside the Proverbs, the nude man soaring through flames. It's almost like he's saying, this energy, this passion you're so afraid of, this is a vital force.
Exactly. Embrace it.
It's like he's saying, forget this whole good versus evil thing, right? It's about contraries, these opposing forces that actually push us forward.
Yeah, it's not even just flipping the script. He's taking that script and chucking it right out the window.
Totally. And then he gives us these definitions. Good is the passive that obeys reason. Evil is the active springing from energy.
Boom. Mic drop, right? He's turning everything on its head. Those things we think of as good, maybe they're actually holding us back. And the things we fear, the evil, maybe those are the keys to unlocking something incredible.
And it's not just in the words, right? It's in those powerful images too.
Yeah.
That figure soaring above the flames and then that line, without contraries is no progression.
Exactly. He's giving us the visual right alongside the verbal. Blake's not messing around here.
Not at all. So we're talking about embracing both sides,
Right.
the light and the dark, reason and energy.
All of it. Even heaven and hell. Blake doesn't see them as these separate things. It's all part of the same, well, human experience. Like two sides of the same coin. And that coin, it's constantly flipping, spinning, making us question everything.
And speaking of questioning everything, we got to talk about those memorable fancies. I mean, what's the deal with that printing house in hell? So strange and vivid.
Right. But think about it. That printing house, it's a metaphor. It's creation itself. Every chamber, every weird and wonderful figure, it all represents a different part of that creative process. You've got the dragon man clearing away the old, the viper gathering the raw materials.
And then the eagle expanding the very space of possibility. It's almost like alchemy.
Exactly. Blake wants us to wake up to that alchemical power within ourselves, our own imaginations. Remember that image, the golden eagle wrapped up with a serpent.
Oh yeah, it definitely sneaks with you.
It's not just a cool visual. It's about the way imagination and transformation, they're inseparable, always pushing each other further.
And you know who else Blake wants to push? John Milton. It's like watching a literary heavyweight fight.
Oh, he goes there for sure. Sees Paradise Lost as this masterpiece, but also, well, kind of contradictory.
So Milton's making Satan this compelling figure, even if he's supposed to be the bad guy.
Right. Blake's picking up on these layers, these contradictions. He's saying, even Milton, maybe without realizing it, he's kind of siding with the rebel, the one who embodies energy and defiance.
And Blake does that too, doesn't he? Like when he's having dinner with Isaiah and Ezekiel, and he's asking them point blank, how do you know God was talking to you?
He doesn't let anyone off the hook. Which brings us to that line, probably his most famous. If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, infinite. What do you think? How do you interpret that?
A big one, right? For me, it's like he's saying, look, we're all trapped in these limited ways of seeing the world. Like we're looking through a tiny little keyhole.
And he wants us to kick that door wide open, see the full panorama.
Exactly. And I love how he brings it back to the physical, that image of the figure lying on the beach.
Mhm.
It's like he's saying, hey, your senses, the ones you rely on every day, they can actually limit you.
It's true. We get so caught up in the everyday, the mundane, that we forget there's a whole universe of experience waiting to be discovered. If we can just break free from those limitations.
And he doesn't just want us to see it right. He wants us to do something with it. That's where Song of Liberty comes in.
Oh, yeah. Talk about a call to action, the passion in those words. It's contagious.
He's like a prophet, railing against tyranny in all its forms, whether it's society, religion,
Mm.
or even just our own limited thinking.
Exactly. It's all connected. And that image, the figure casting off the restraints, it's like he's giving us permission to do the same.
So powerful. It's like it's all building to this one idea, this recognition that true freedom, true liberation,
Mhm.
it starts within.
Right. It's not about some external authority, some deity on a throne somewhere. It's about tapping into that spark of divinity Blake says we all have within us.
All deities reside in the human breast. Powerful stuff. But how do we even begin to process that? How do we take these wild, challenging ideas and apply them to our own lives?
Well, maybe start by asking yourself, what doors of perception has Blake opened for me? What assumptions have been challenged? What limitations suddenly feel, I don't know, a little less solid?
Yeah, it's about finding your own tigers of wrath.
Exactly. What fuels that fire in you? That drive to push past the comfortable, the familiar, to really shake things up.
And to embrace the contradictions, right? The light and the dark, the reason and the energy, all of it.
Absolutely. Blake shows us that those so-called darker impulses, those contradictions, they're not something to fear. They're part of what makes us human. And they're capable of creating something incredible, just like Blake did.
So, as we kind of come full circle on this deep dive into the world of William Blake and the marriage of heaven and hell, what's the one thing you want our listeners to walk away with?
This isn't just some dusty old poem, right? It's a call to action. Go out there, question everything. Don't be afraid to challenge the easy answers, to embrace those contradictions, to forge your own marriage of heaven and hell.
Love it. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive into the most fascinating texts out there.